All right, so
Okay.
we're on day 4, right, of the lead generation training. We talked a lot about how to identify your target audience. I gave you a lot of background on what Sonic Virtual Assistant is, and we talked about who our target audience is. You learned a lot about how to start rethinking what lead generation means. So it's much more than just data mining and list building and spamming. It's actually much more harder and much more challenging, much more intensive to do real good lead generation, especially using social media for lead generation, which is what our predominantly are doing since we're working virtually. So the last night we talked about a couple of strategies, right? So we went through the 3-3-3 and the ARM method to talk about some ways to give us ideas on how to really get more leads into our funnel. And then once they're in our funnel, convert them from lead to customer. So tonight we're going to come back to Facebook, but we're going to talk about how to assess your audience, tracking and analyzing all your data. We'll also talk about IG, Instagram, and we'll talk about LinkedIn or LinkedIn. We'll focus on your ROI, return on investment, right? It's a marketing term, finance term. And we'll talk about that. And then our assignment will be to build our social media metrics tracker, right? So how we're going to be able to do optimization of our lead gen using data. And so data is what really you need to get used to using to be effective. And so we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. So you're going to get a crash course in data analytics, which is, I think, something very few virtual assistants really understand. And the ones that do are able to really be super successful. And again, that's what we talked about as far as what we want to do with you guys is we want you to learn how to do it in a way that's different than typical lead generation. It will make you much more successful at it. And eventually you can build your own business out of this, right? So you can learn this so well that you decide to go off and set up your own lead generation virtual agency. So, this is why I'm teaching you all this stuff. So first thing we'll talk about is how to assess your audience using analytics, right? So data analytics is basically the process of using data in decision making. And it's also something you put into practice, right? So you can do data analytics by looking at data and analyzing it. And so for lead generation, to help us assess our audience and identify opportunities, we need to do 4 things. We need to collect data, right? So collecting data allows us to look at our social media in ways that we're looking at things like Facebook Insights and Google Analytics that include things like demographic, age, gender, and location. So we want to collect the data. And we'll talk about that as we go through each of the different channels. But for example, data like, are your followers, is your audience predominantly male or female? What age bracket are they in? Where do they come from geographically? These things help you make sure that your lead generation efforts are being effective on the target audience. And that's really important. We also want to analyze the data by looking for patterns and trends in your audience's behavior. What are people liking? If they like it, then we should have more of it created. And when we have more of it created, more people will be attracted to it. And that's when we get them into our funnel, right? So we use social media to attract people as like a cheese trying to attract a mouse to come into our mousetrap or our funnel, right? So we want to analyze data looking for patterns and trends that will help us understand behavior. And so we can see when people might have a potential interest in our product or service. And that's when we profile them based on what we know to be true as far as our ideal customer, right? Our ideal customer is a middle-aged American woman who has a small business that's either direct marketing or online selling, or she's a business coach. That's our ideal customer. They already have some channels for Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. They don't have to create them. They already have them. They just need help to be able to do things bigger, better, faster. So they need a virtual assistant. One of the things they need to do bigger, better, faster is to manage their leads because they have too many leads to manage. That's who our target customer is. We can work with people who are starting out fresh and don't have any content, don't have social media well planned out, and don't know how to generate leads, but it's a harder thing to do. That's not our ideal customer. Our ideal customer are the ones that basically they say, I just need help managing my lead generation, or I got a good product, I got a good offer, I just need to get more people into my funnel. And that's where they hire us. So after we analyze the data, we want to segment the data. So segment our audience based on factors such as demographics. So like basically we know what they are and we bucket them in what we do, right? So we know that there's a certain percentage of women that come from a certain part of the country that are interested in a certain type of product. So we do a special for them. We do a coupon, we do a discount, we do a buy one, take one, something like that, targeted just to them at their level. This is like when you do Facebook ads, you can target down to the zip code, right? So you can know exactly in any city in the US, exactly what neighborhoods you want to target if you could figure out their zip code, which is something that I know how to do. And I won't talk about that to you guys tonight, but eventually we'll get into using zip code data to help us be even more targeted. So we segment people so we can tailor the messages and content to be specific to that audience, increasing the likelihood of them saying, hey, I want to learn more, or I want to make an appointment. So, and then we monitor and measure our results by tracking metrics such as click-through rates, conversion rates, cost per lead to determine the ROI. So if you want to learn all this stuff, if you really want to learn the analytics behind lead generation, I can teach you. I know all this from my time working for Wells Fargo when I did it for the bank, and then from my time doing it on my own businesses. And I'll show you some examples of that in a second. But this is what I need you guys to at least understand. I don't expect you to master it right away. You know, this to be really, really, really good at data analytics takes years. And to be really good at data analytics, specifically for lead generation, takes a lot of practice. So if you want to get there, you will, but it will take time. But I want you to know about it in a general concept. So when I'm talking to you about it, it's not like a foreign language. Although right now it may seem like a foreign language, this whole data stuff, right? This is a spreadsheet breaking down the 6,428 applicants Sonic VA has had for jobs we posted in the last 3 years. We want to know of these 6,428 where they're coming from, right? So as I mentioned before, we want to know about it because we want to know how to go do recruiting. We want to do face-to-face trainings for both to build up our network and to look for VAs as well as for marketing. So the foreign clients see me here in the Philippines doing the training. So we want to do all that, right? So we're going to look at the data. So we have we capture province and city for everyone that applies. And then we can look at that data by putting it through a pivot table and spitting out results. So we know that of all the cities in the Philippines, the one that gives us the most applicants is Davao. See that there? Davao has a population of 1.7 million, and we've got 209 applicants from Davao. Number 2 is QC, number 3 is CDO, number 4 is Cebu, and number 5 is Iligan. So we can tell where we're getting applicants from. And this allows us to kind of understand why our business is doing what it's doing, right? So we're attracting a lot of people from Davao and from Iligan and from CDO and from Cebu because I've been there in the last year. I've done events and trainings in those cities. So we have name recognition. Plus, they're also big cities. So we're getting quite a bit. Although we're also getting a lot of applicants from Butuan, which is not a big city. It's a medium-sized city. We're getting a lot from Jinsan, right? We're getting a lot from Bacolod, right? So we're getting some from places I haven't been to. So it's not just the fact that we're having me there, although it's probably a factor. We're getting good talent coming from these areas. So we could think about, because of this, maybe I should go to Butuan and do a face-to-face event because we got 102 applicants from a city of only 370,000. So, and then we can see other things too, like, you know, there's a Pasig, which we know we're going to get a lot, but we get a lot more from Manila. QC gives us the most, but then we know it's because of the population. So when you have this kind of data, you can look for trends, right? You can look for patterns that will help you make a business decision. So we can also, as I mentioned before, besides number of applicants, we can do things like look at applicants per population. So we get a number that basically divides the number of applicants among the population so that we see how much of the market we're able to touch, right? So there's 363,000 people in Iligan, and we've had 122 applicants. That means we're getting one of every 3,000 people that live in Iligan are applying for a job with us. So this is an example of analytics, right? This is what I'm trying to share with you guys, is that this is what you need to be able to understand even if you can't do it yourself or don't want to do it yourself, this is part of lead generation, right? Understanding the numbers so that you can really understand how things are working. That's how you assess your audience, as an example, right? So most of our clients, we can do the same thing for them, right? We can help them use their data to fine tune their efforts, right? If we know that most of their audience is coming from a certain geographic location and has certain demographic profile types, then we can find more people like that. And this is where we can get into doing a lot of things that are at the zip code level, that are based on, very targeted marketing for lead generation. Right? And again, marketing and lead generation, they both work hand in hand. Let's move on and talk about tracking and analyzing lead data, right? So tracking and analyzing lead data is important because it allows you to identify what works, right? Again, it helps me to see where I should spend my time when I want to go do face-to-face trainings. By tracking and analyzing lead generation data, you can identify what strategies are actually most effective. It can improve your ROI, right? So if I need to go to an event and I need to, incur a cost, and then I want to be able to tie back, okay, so how much did that help in our recruiting efforts? If I go to Baguio, and in the 6 months or a year after I go to Baguio, do we see a significant increase in the number of applicants from Baguio? Then that would show a good return on investment. So if I go to an event somewhere else and don't get a good turnout, don't get a lot of good people coming to apply for us, then it was not a good return on investment. And over time, we can track and see which of those cities give us the best ROI. Like, I know going to Davao is always a win because Davao is where we get a lot of people. There's a lot of focus in Davao in updating the city. As far as like they're investing heavily in infrastructure. They have a lot of more places people can go work as far as co-working spaces. So there's a lot of things happening that make me more confident in that ROI. So when I see the data, I can basically look and see what do we do with it. And then when I decide I want to do something different, or I want to double check if what I'm doing makes sense, I can refine my targeting, right? So I can analyze the lead gen data to help understand the audience better and generate higher quality leads. So again, this is an example of using applicants as leads. But what if they're all people that signed up for a training? Like, so another thing I could show you is people that signed up for trainings and where they're from. And then that helps us figure out, again, what do we do face-to-face trainings. And then on top of that, we also do a lot of webinars, and I can see, I capture where they're from when they sign up for a webinar. So the webinar on Tuesday, everyone that filled out the form to get the link to come to the Zoom had to input their province and their city. So we get more and more data, and then I put it all together, right? I don't just use our applicant data. I use the attendees of our face-to-face trainings. I use the attendees of our virtual trainings. And I just asked today for a friend of mine if she wouldn't mind sharing with me what are the top cities that she gets people for her business to come into. And she does VA training. So I wanted to see where people were coming from that avail of her mostly online trainings. So I'm taking all this data, right? And I'm using it to help look at the overall big picture. By using data to guide your lead generation efforts, you can make informed decisions about your marketing strategy and ensure that your efforts align with your business goals, right? So again, lead generation and marketing go hand in hand. So let's move on to Facebook. So who uses Facebook? I think we should test our assumptions here, right? So the assumption is that we use Facebook, so everyone uses Facebook, but what do we really know about who really is using it, especially for the US audience, since most of our clients are going to be in the US. According to a 2020 survey by Pew Research, around 69% of US adults use Facebook, making it the second most popular platform after YouTube. Did you know that YouTube is much more popular than Facebook? A lot of people don't know that. What does that make a difference? Well, if you're using YouTube as part of your plan to attract people into your funnel, if you need lead generation and YouTube's a big part of it, then you should think about how to use YouTube for lead generation in ways that maybe you aren't already doing so. So for example, I have a YouTube channel. It's by no means like amazing. Like, I didn't build the YouTube channel to be amazing. I built it as a content library. for potential clients to go to validate if we're legit. And so it serves its purpose. And we'll talk more about the data behind this in a minute. But the point is that YouTube's super popular, more popular than Facebook. The generation that uses Facebook the most is Generation X, which includes individuals born between the mid-60s and the early 80s. That's me. That's people like me. That's a lot of our clients, our Gen X. However, FB is also widely used by millennials and baby boomers. It is not as widely used by Gen Z. And so it's really unlikely that we're going to target Gen Z as our customers, because most people that are going to want to do business with me and with you as us, they're probably going to be in Gen X or millennials or maybe baby boomers, right? So that's the generations that we're looking to target. The average FB user is between 25 to 34 and spends an average of 19 minutes per day on the platform. So the average user is younger, but the ones that we care about the most are the older ones. Recent studies have shown that while younger generations are increasingly using other platforms like IG, TikTok, and Snapchat, FB remains popular among older age groups. In fact, about 60% of internet users aged 65 or older use Facebook, making it the most popular platform among this age group. So it's the most popular platform among baby boomers. It's the second most popular platform among Gen X. It's the second most popular platform behind millennials, but it's not even in the top 5 for Gen Z. Stuff we should know when we're thinking about our audience and understanding our target market. And are they on Facebook? In terms of gender, Facebook is slightly equal, or is relatively equal number of men and women, right? So there's not a lot of, you have to be very gender neutral when you're on Facebook, unless you're really leaning into a certain niche. Although you're going to have a lot of people that aren't in that niche see it. So Facebook in general, you're looking to target things to people a little older, and you're looking to target to people that tend to be open to gender neutral stuff as a general rule. So when you look at the Facebook Insight, it's a powerful tool that could generate more leads by providing insights into your audience behavior and interests. And here are some ways to promote more leads. Use insights to identify key demographic information. Again, what percentage of the followers meet the gender you're looking for? Which one, where do they live, right? So we look again at the Sonic VA page, go back to that, and the breakdown is predominantly women and predominant people in the Philippines, right? You see the data points, Davao, Iligan, age. So this is what helps you figure out, are you hitting your right demographic target? So if the insights can help you validate that. Now, again, if I was trying to sell something to people that predominantly aren't virtual assistants in the Philippines, that are predominantly female, I would be in trouble. But luckily I know, and this validates it, that most VAs, somewhere between 60 to 70% of virtual assistants are women, and of those, all of them for the most part are in the Philippines for our perspective, right? So we're hitting our target market. You can track engagement metrics like likes, comments, shares to see how your content is performing, look for new trends over time. I showed you my Facebook page the other night, right? Go back to me. I have 5,000 followers. I have 1,000 people that I'm following. I have 3,700 friends, right? So you're seeing some metrics. You can see the metrics as far as like this post of me at the pool got 128 likes. This post for a job got 4, right? So people aren't going to my page to apply for jobs. They're going to my page to see, hey, who's this guy and what's he doing? Oh, kind of cool. He's like at the pool. Or, oh, kind of cool. He's flying to Palawan, right? So people, we talked about this last night, people want to see me doing me. And that's what's on my Facebook page. My Facebook business page, on the other hand, we go look at that, and the most popular things are not very popular. So we do not put a lot of effort into making this page interactive, right? So you're getting like 2, 3. This is pretty bad, right? So this needs work. We don't have a virtual assistant currently managing this page on a regular basis. We're just pushing content from IG onto FB. Why are we doing that? Because we don't need to use this as a lead magnet right now. This is not where we want people to go to sign up. We want them to go to a form. So they see this, they see the form, they go off Facebook and they go to the form in Google. So they're not going down our page. Also, we don't spend a lot of money trying to educate new people to what we do. We're almost all referrals, right? So all we need to be able to do is demonstrate that we're legit. So if a friend of somebody who I'm doing business with already is referred to us, if a business partner or a client is referred to us, they're going to go to Sonic VA and they go, oh, this is legit. That's Dan. That's his virtual assistants. They all look really cool. I think I want to trust them and like them. Oh, he's got a bunch of content. He's showing tips. All right, that's legit, right? So again, we're not building this page to be like busy. Could it be busier? Yes. Would it benefit us if it was busier? Probably. But we've done pretty well so far, not putting a lot of investment into managing this page. And we do that because we know that this page is primarily a place that people are going just to look and see if we're legit as virtual assistants. We're not attracting Americans to come here. We're not attracting clients to come here. Or if they do, they just click and leave. They don't follow. They don't join. They don't scroll down and like things because all they want to make sure is this guy legit? Michelle referred him to me. I want to make sure he's real. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Click, boom, off. Make sense? And of course, you can use FB ads. We don't currently use FB ads. A client may at some point ask you to help them do FB ads for lead generation. There's ads for FB, for IG, for LinkedIn, for YouTube, for TikTok, and they're all got their pros and cons. And I'm not going to go through how to do them today. That could be a future training that we go through and talk about Facebook ads. And we want to test and refine things, right? So try things that we like A/B testing, like try this way and then try this way and see which one gets more views. Try this kind of picture or this kind of copy or this kind of reel or use these hashtags and bounce back and forth and see which one over time gets more traction. You want to test and refine your approaches also by using surveys and gathering feedback. So if you do a survey occasionally, like surveying people, like, what do you think about this? Would you be more interested in this kind of content? Do you want, to come to our page to get tips? Are you coming to our page to learn how to use a virtual assistant? Are you coming to our page to get hired as a virtual assistant? So we could survey people as well. And you have to be patient and persistent. This takes time. This is one of the problems that we have with lead generation is a lot of our clients are impatient. They don't want to take the time it takes to do lead generation this way. They want you to go out and just build this magical list by just doing some data mining and sending out this scripted spam message, and all of a sudden they're going to get rich. It just doesn't work that way. So let's talk about IG. The average IG user is between 18 and 34, spends an average of 30 minutes per day on the platform. However, IG is popular among younger generations, with over 75% of 18 to 24-year-olds, which would mostly be Gen Z. In terms of gender, IG is used by a slightly higher percentage of women, 57% versus about 51% for Facebook. And basically it appeals to everyone. There's not a pattern as far as where they're at geographically or the education level, the income level. Rich people from New York love being on IG just as much as middle-class people from Texas. Or vice versa, rich people from Texas and middle-class people from New York or whatever. So it really attracts millennials and Gen Z the most. Recent studies have shown that while younger generations are increasingly using IG, older generations are also joining the platform. So there have been a huge percentage of people going to IG that are up to 45 years old. So anybody that's my age is probably maybe going to use IG. Like I sometimes use it. And people that are older than me aren't going to use it. And people that are a little bit younger than me are starting to get into it, right? So IG can be useful if your clients you're working for or your target market is like in their mid-30s to their mid-40s. According to Pew, 40% of adults in the US use IG, making it the fourth most popular after YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. So IG is popular, but not as popular as Facebook. It has a predominantly younger audience, although there is some people that are early millennials or late Gen Xers that are on it. And so we could help clients using IG. So how do we use IG Insights? Like Facebook, because it's very similar, we can look at the key demographics like audience, age, gender, location, interests. We can track engagement metrics like likes, comments, and shares, just like we do on Facebook. We can optimize the understanding of which types of content are resonating. We can also, on IG, much more important than on Facebook, is hashtags. So you can use IG Insights to identify the most popular hashtags in your niche or industry. And so when I'm talking to people about doing lead generation on IG, looking for clients in IG, we put a focus on hashtags and also on the copy, right? And then also if you're doing lead generation, whether it be through your profile or through a client's profile, or like my profile, you would be making sure that copy has a call to action in it, in the description, it's a call to action. And of course, we would look at the IG insights on a regular basis to monitor for comments and direct messages and engage with the audience. Facebook is a lot more dynamic when it comes to helping you understand your audience. And they give you a lot more things to do to engage with your audience. Like Facebook will prompt you on people's birthdays to send a message. IG does not. IG does not have the ability to do an easy survey. IG is basically where you post content, pictures, as far as pictures that are either posts or stories, stories that are either pictures or reels. Reels, of course, are all videos, and it keeps it simple. It's a different place. So IG, it has to be quick, it has to be catchy, it has to be attractive. It can't be as long as you could do things on Facebook, and it can't be as simple. So IG is a different animal when it comes to doing lead generation, especially. Marina and Michelle both use their IG for data mining, for building lists, and ultimately for lead generation, but they are more successful on different channels. So Marina's most successful channel is YouTube, and she uses IG really well, and her Facebook to some extent. And she's a Facebook group that she uses. Michelle uses Facebook primarily. She has an IG channel and she has a YouTube channel, but she's really trying to drive most of her business through her Facebook groups. So when you know a client and the client knows where their target market is, then you use the appropriate tools, right? So for me, my target market for the last several years has been predominantly trying to find the right talent, because I haven't had a problem finding clients, because the clients are coming to me through referrals from the events that I was doing in the US, the face-to-face stuff I was doing in the US, and the network I built up there during the pandemic. So all our social media right now is predominantly focused on virtual assistants. But why we're hiring you guys is so we can flip it, so we can convert some of our social media to be more client focused, to start using Instagram and Facebook as more of a funnel to attract more clients, so we can grow our audience behind our audience and attract more people into our funnel, so we can convert more leads into customers, because we now have the infrastructure in place to go bigger, right? So I mentioned before, we have a goal of doubling the number of customers we have using you guys. If you can help us double the number of customers, then we'll keep replicating it. We'll tell our customers, hey, we can double the number of your customers if you follow our lead generation tactics. And this is where you guys will end up becoming very busy with a lot of clients, being able to help them do lead generation that you've learned how to do for us. Let's talk about LinkedIn. Here's some key characteristics of LinkedIn. The generation that uses LinkedIn the most is Gen X, right? So those are people that are 40s, 50s, and 60s. Relatively equal split between male and female, with slightly more men. But the big difference on LinkedIn is it's very masculine, right? There's not a lot of femininity to LinkedIn. It's built for businesses. It's hierarchical. It's like based on what is approved to view at work kind of stuff. So it's not as easy to market, to do things to attract new customers, to build up funnels. LinkedIn's a little bit more challenging in that regard, like Facebook and IG. But LinkedIn is much, much better to do lead generation by doing direct messages and trying to have conversations with very targeted audiences, right? So Facebook and IG, you're trying to attract people, whereas LinkedIn, you already know who you want and you're going for it, because you can search for them. You can search for them and find their employer. You can search for them and find their school. You can search for them and look for the keywords in their skills. So for looking for business owners, for entrepreneurs that we want to have avail of our VA services, LinkedIn has to be managed much differently than Facebook and IG. Around 20% of the adults in the United States use LinkedIn, making it the 7th most popular social media app. LinkedIn is most popular among older age groups, particularly those in the middle and upper management positions, just because LinkedIn is primarily used for professional networking and job searching. So LinkedIn's a whole different animal. LinkedIn's got analytics just like Facebook and IG are there, but they're not as focused on who's following you. It's more on who's looking at you potentially for some kind of business angle, right? So you're attracting people to Facebook and Instagram based on being likable and just kind of generally trustworthy. You attract people on LinkedIn because you have some kind of commonality, or they see in you a direct solution to a problem they have. And it's a big, big difference. So for example, just the things that I have here, like total followers, profile views, search appearances, post impressions, these are the same that you have on IG and Facebook, but they mean a lot different things. Like post impressions, right? People that see your posts would be kind of like something you don't see. You don't see how many views you get for your Facebook stuff. You just see how much likes you get, right? So it's more that emotional, hey, someone liked my stuff. Versus here, it's more intellectual. Oh, cool, someone viewed my post. And also you get search, right? So you see who looked at your profile. Facebook, I think, used to have this way back in the day, right? Who viewed your profile, but they discontinued because there's so much stalking and stuff. But LinkedIn, you still can see who viewed your profile, what they're looking for as far as keywords, top companies that they're coming from. So it gives you a lot more data to work with here on LinkedIn. Also, looking at the different things that are available as far as tools, LinkedIn Live, audio, newsletters, follow link, right? So you can do things here. And of course, LinkedIn has pages that are dedicated to businesses as well. And you can do those. And it also has groups. So like Facebook, it has a lot of things on the surface that may look similar, but the way we're going to approach doing it is very different. LinkedIn Analytics helps us generate more appointments and productive leads by providing insights into audience behavior. Facebook and IG are primarily used for us to attract attention to get them to the top of the funnel. LinkedIn is more, they're already in the funnel because they're connected to us in some way in a smaller universe. And so it's a matter of moving them down in the funnel from interest to sale. Track engagement metrics such as views, clicks, and shares to see how your content is performing, looking for trends. Use analytics to understand types of content or message are working, right? So like Facebook and Instagram, you can see what's working, right? So if you go to the profile and you look at activity, so you can see the impressions, 301. You can go to the analytics on that, right? This post about why I left Wells Fargo, episode 4, got 301 impressions, which is not bad. It got 4 reactions, not bad. Again, I'm not doing a lot. I'm posting here occasionally. I don't currently have a VA managing this. This is one of the two of you is going to get assigned to do LinkedIn. But this is the area where I really want to put a lot of our effort in lead generation, because like I said, this is a more powerful tool for what we're trying to do. We have a huge network. We have the ability to pinpoint who in this network has certain types of jobs and works in certain geographic locations and work for certain companies. So we can look very specifically at who's a second connection located in the United States that talks about entrepreneurship, and they used to work for Wells Fargo. So now we get 19 people that we think we could definitely have a conversation about entrepreneurship with. All right, so talk about YouTube, because specifically many of our clients use YouTube as a content library. I use YouTube as a content library, right? So a content library is basically where you put your expertise, where you share with the world, hey, this is what we do. And that content library is where people go to listen, watch, view just a little bit to be able to figure out if they want to work with you. This is where you get that like and trust to really be cemented. So you'll see that the best way for most of our clients and for me, for Sonic VA, to really get people interested is to share with them videos. It could be the shorts, they can be the actual long form videos. We'll kind of mix and match and see what's most relevant. But we want people to start seeing this stuff. And when they see our videos on YouTube, they can come here and they can go, wow, they're legit. And once they figure out that we're legit, then we drive them to a sign up form. So this is part of why we're not doing a lot on Facebook right now, because these really are going to be more effective on this. Michelle Cotton got like 39,000 subscribers and 500 videos, right? we can use these as examples. Like, so we can do a couple of different things here, right? We can share one of Michelle's videos and say, hey, we love Michelle. She's amazing. If you like her video, we can help you make one just like it. We can use an example to make her videos. And she's got a huge content library. Same with Marina. So YouTube will be very important to us because YouTube is the most popular website as far as Americans. It is more popular than even Google. YouTube is owned by Google, which is amazing. And so you can organize your videos in playlists. You can use a content library. You can use keywords and hashtags in your video title descriptions. You can share your videos on social media. You can embed videos in your website or blog, like we do, like on our Sonic pages, Sonic Analytics. So there's two different environments on YouTube, right? There's people that just watch, videos of people playing Roblox all day, and there's people that use it for business. And the people that use it to watch videos of people doing all kinds of crazy things, or watch, cat chasing a light or that kind of stuff, that's the majority of YouTube, but there's still a sizable amount of YouTube that's for business. And so that's what we're going to go for. The most common length of YouTube videos is about 4 to 5 minutes. You'll see that most of Michelle's and Marina's videos and even my videos tend to be shorter, except for when we're doing like something like this, where we're recording a training. YouTube Analytics can help you make data-driven decisions to grow your channel by creating content to promote products or services, provide educational resources, showcase customer testimonials, and more, right? So I think YouTube is all about empowering people with knowledge, enabling them to take action, and educating them about what's possible. And so that's what we use our YouTube channel for. That's what Marina uses hers for. That's what Michelle uses hers for. So that is YouTube. So last topic I'll cover tonight is about return on investment. So again, we're going to be a little bit nerdy, and I'm going to ask you guys to, even if you don't do this yourself, to have understanding of it and work with clients to be able to do it. You want to be able to determine the return on investment of your lead gen efforts, right? So when you're spending money and time is money, when you're spending that on lead generation on social media, you need to understand if it's working. And it's not always about how many likes you get. It's not always about how many people see your stuff. It's actually more about, is what you're doing financially viable? Can you sustain it? Is it actually giving you a profit? So you want to set specific goals, right? So I mentioned to you guys last night, I want you to tell me how many people you want to add into your network. If you have 100 friends now, I want you to be able to say, and this doesn't have to actually happen, but it should be a realistic goal. I think I can add 100 more friends in the next 30 days. So we can track towards that. And if after that 30 days, you don't add 100 more friends, how many did you add? So we adjust our goal month over month. That's how you start thinking about setting specific goals, right? So your goal for LinkedIn, for example, will be to add so many qualified leads as connections, but will also be to have so many conversations. How many people are in your 333 funnel? How many people have you reached and touched and done the ARM method on? So we use these kind of goals using the tracking links and analytics that are embedded in LinkedIn, Facebook, and IG. And therefore we can calculate the costs, including the cost of time, right? So we have a dollar amount that we pay you for your time. So in that time, we should see a difference. Like I showed you on the Dan Meyer Virtual Staffing Facebook page, we're averaging 10 plus interactions per post, but on the Sonic VA one, we're averaging 2 reactions per post. And on we're not paying anybody to do the Sonic VA page, so it's getting almost nothing because we're not paying anybody to do anything about it. Whereas the Dan Meyer Virtual Staffing page, we're paying someone an hour a day to work on that page, and it's giving us a bigger return. Now, is it worth it? Well, you got to do other types of return on investment analysis to figure out if that's worth it or not. But you can tell there's a cost associated with having a VA do the posting. That's like metric number 1. So you measure the results using key performance indicators such as click-through rates, conversion rates, and cost per lead or sale, right? So when I onboard somebody, we in the onboarding process, we ask them, how did you hear about us? And if they say from the Sonic VA Facebook page, I can tie that client back to the activity that we're posting on the Sonic VA page. If somebody says, I saw it on your Facebook page about Dan Meyer, virtual staffing expert, then I can tie it back to that. And if I get a few clients in a month that tell me, hey, I'm a new client and I want to pay you money, and I learned about you because I came across your Sonic VA, across your Dan Meyer virtual staffing page, and I'm willing to pay you X amount of money to do video editing for me, then I can tie that back to see if having the VA manage the page is worth it. So this helps you calculate your ROI by subtracting your cost from your revenue and dividing the result by your cost. For example, if your campaign generated 10,000 in revenue and cost 5,000, your ROI would be 100%. That's awesome, right? So we want to be able to help our customers, our clients, do things that help them understand their ROI. And we do this for two reasons. Number one, you have to cover your ass, right? You have to prove that you're worth what they're spending. So if you are able to do lead generation for them and you do it in a way that you track the data and you can manage a few metrics to show them that their investment in you is paying off in profit, then they're likely to want to keep you. A big problem we have is that a lot of VAs don't have a clue about this, don't want to touch this if they do, and the clients just make assumptions. Well, what did you do the last 2 weeks? I paid you, but I don't have any new clients. And if you don't have this to show, well, sir, we onboarded 10 new people into your group, and we did 333 on 30 people, and we did this, and this is a follow-up status, and we didn't get anybody new the last couple of weeks, but this is where we're at. It's much easier to explain to a client, we're not being successful yet, but here's what we're trying, versus we're not being successful yet, and I can't explain why. A lot of VAs will take the kind of fatalist approach. Well, it's not my fault. And when that happens, they're going to be looking for another client really quickly because the client's going to fail. And that's the second reason why we care about ROI, because we want the clients to succeed. Because we want the clients to succeed so we don't have to do our own lead generation as virtual assistants, right? So if we get good clients that we like to work with, that are successful, that are making money, they'll keep sending us more work to do, and they'll start referring clients, their friends, to us as new clients. So if they're successful, we're successful. So being able to understand some of this ROI stuff will help you figure out, is this someone we're staying with? Because we're doing this work and it's making a difference. It's a positive outcome for them. They're making money off of what we're doing. And then you can say, yeah, I should keep doing this. But if they're not making money, and you can see that based on seeing the negative ROI, that they're paying you and things it's not converting to sales, then you probably need it in the back of your mind to think about, at some point, this is going to end because he can't keep losing money forever. So I should either give him some advice, maybe, or I should look for somebody else to work for. So this helps you, right? Helps you prepare to help yourself be successful, and it helps the client be successful. And when the client's successful, you are successful. So, and you don't want to adjust your strategy, right? So you use the metrics and data and everything to constantly tweak your ROI to do more of what works. Research shows that FB, IG, LinkedIn, and YouTube generally have the most ROI, best ROI, regard to paid ad spending, right? So those are the four we focus on. You can do ad spending in many different ways, but Facebook by far and away, way more than half of social media ad spending is done on Facebook. And in some cases, it's really effective. In some cases, it's not. IG, LinkedIn, and YouTube all have chunks of people that use it for ads, and it's hit or miss. But it's miss when people don't understand that they're spending money to make money. And the money they're spending is wisely spent because they're following a plan, because they're looking for what's good ROI. They understand the platforms, they understand their audience, they know how to deliver their message to that audience in a way the audience will say yes. All that has to happen. It's fairly, again, this is lead generation, right? It's a lot more than what a lot of people think it is. This is what we're going to do for your next assignment. I want you to create a Google Sheet, right? So you have to create a Google Sheet that lists out your social media channels. Now, both of you gave me social media channels, so you start with one as a row that following headers for columns. So channel is the first column, right? And then across that column, across that row, you put other column headers, current lead count, project lead count, actual lead count, time spent, time cost, market ad spend. Take a screenshot of this one so you don't have to remember it. So on a second tab, list the leads as rows, right? So we're going to have a tracking spreadsheet that's going to basically be our ROI, and a tracking spreadsheet that's going to be actually with the leads. And you don't have to fill out this with a lot of stuff. You just have to build the tracker. All right. So the last thing is just kind of a recap. So optimizing your lead generation data, the key learnings today were Social media analytics tools provide valuable insights into how your social media content is performing and how your audience is engaging with it. Trust what you can validate. The idea is to get people away from doing lead generation where it's gut feel, doing lead generation where it's not giving a good return on investment, doing lead generation where you're just kind of like doing things without a good chance of success. And I mentioned ROI, and measuring social media ROI is essential to understanding the effectiveness of your social media strategy and making informed business decisions. Part of the social media strategy is to attract leads, right? So it's a lead generation strategy as well. And the idea is to only spend money, and time is money, only spend money where the data says to spend it, right? So you make your decisions about how to spend your money to attract leads on data. So for example, bringing you two on to help us do lead generation, we're doing it based on the data that shows that we've kind of tapped out or topped out the flow of just natural referrals from our current client base. We're only averaging 3 a week. We've been averaging 3 a week for a while. So the data says we got to find something else to do if we want to grow the business. We know by different types of analysis we've done that we know our target market, we know what platform to use. We've had experience that tells us on this platform, do 333 this way, on this platform, share YouTube videos like this. And so that's what we're going to do, right? So we feel like we're at a point in Sonic VA where the analytics and the ROI are telling us to hire a couple lead generation VAs, train them, and then turn them loose and see if they can generate leads. And if they do, how do they do it? We'll track that. The data will tell us what the best way to keep using your time is, right? So we find out that LinkedIn's just not giving us any return on our investment after a month of you managing it every day, and we'll repurpose your time and do something else. Or maybe we'll change what we're doing on LinkedIn because what we're doing wasn't working. So we have this data to help us make these decisions.